Hey guys, in the last episode you saw that Haruto was discovered by Charlotte, his sister. And to cover up his amazing powers, he asked her to keep it a secret, claiming to be the hero of justice, and his identity must be kept secret. Today I'm going to tell you a little more about this story, which is pretty cool. But first, the usual routine, hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, give me that support. You have no idea how much that helps, okay? Without further ado, let's get to the recap. Today's video starts with Charlotte inviting Haruto to play, which in the first episode would have been completely unthinkable, since she always avoided him. Then she hugs him and sticks to him. Haruto in his thoughts says that since the incident in the forest, Charlotte has been coming to his room every day. He says he has no idea how to deal with her now that she likes him. But despite all this, he says it's not bad, it's like a little animal loving him. Look at the comparisons this guy makes, man. At one point, Charlotte sees a display on Haruto's table and asks what it is. Haruto says it's monitoring magic, and Charlotte becomes very interested. She says her brother is really amazing for using ancient magic so easily. Charlotte also mentions that there are some books about ancient magic in their library and asks Haruto if he wants her to take him there. Haruto agrees, and soon he begins to study ancient magic. He discovers that ancient magic could be non-elemental, unlike current magic that necessarily requires an element to be cast. He also learns that there are gods that can travel to different worlds. And in his thoughts, Haruto says he's seen this in an anime in his past life. Remembering anime, he regrets that it's been a long time since he's watched any, and that's his only complaint about living in that world. Charlotte asks what on earth this anime he's talking about is. And Haruto explains, saying it's basically moving pictures that speak. Charlotte is really impressed, since no images move in that world, and she becomes very interested. Haruto says he'll show her soon, but in his thoughts, he admits he has no idea how to do it. 2 weeks pass, and Haruto has managed to connect his magic to Earth's internet. Don't ask me how, he didn't explain that in the anime either. He says his anime subscription is still active, so he starts watching anime again. He brings Charlotte to watch, and she's really excited. He asks her to pick one, and she chooses one with a little girl. When she sees the girl moving and using magic, she's completely amazed. But Charlotte has a problem, she doesn't understand a single word they're saying. She asks Haruto to teach her Japanese. Haruto thinks it'll be hard for her to learn a new language, but he's wrong. Charlotte learns really fast, and Haruto is completely shocked that she mastered katakana in just 2 hours. For those who don't know, katakana is like the Japanese symbol alphabet you see on the screen. 2 weeks pass since then, and Charlotte comes to Haruto's room every day to watch anime. He's turned the girl into an otaku, dude. Before anyone gets funny in the comments, I know it's botom, but let's admit, otaku sounds way better. Haruto lets her watch, and in his thoughts, he says Charlotte learned Japanese from watching anime and basically already knows the language. Haruto thinks it's amazing, and wonder if his little sister is actually a genius. He says if that's the case, he shouldn't just let her watch anime all day, but he feels bad taking it away since she's having so much fun. But Haruto decides and says he has to, as the older brother he has to be more strict. After finishing the episode she was watching, before she goes to the next one, he tells her to stop. Haruto says she can't watch a whole season in one go, and he decides to allow her to watch only 3 hours of anime a day. Charlotte is completely shocked, and asks why. Haruto responds that it's not healthy for kids to watch anime all day, but Charlotte argues that it doesn't make sense, since she feels really good. Haruto stands his ground and calls her, as it's dinner time. Charlotte becomes quite dejected after that. At dinner, Haruto's father says they've been spending a lot of time together and asks what they've been doing. Charlotte answers that they've been studying ancient magic all this time. Haruto's mother is happy that Charlotte is helping him, as it's always been her dream for them to get along. Then Haruto goes to take a bath, and Charlotte shows up in the bathroom right after. Haruto asks what she's doing there. She says that now that she has no more anime to watch, she has nothing to do and decided to take a bath. Haruto thinks and says there's nothing wrong with that, since they're both kids. But it does seem kind of weird to him, because his mind is that of an adult. While they're taking a bath, Charlotte looks at something on Haruto and becomes paralyzed, looking at it. But don't worry, it's not what you're thinking. She's looking at the mark on his chest, which we already know is the real mark. All those born of royalty have that mark. However, Haruto can't say that. And when she asks what that is, he simply replies that it's the mark of the hero of justice, and she must keep it a secret and not tell anyone. They finish bathing, and before going to sleep, Charlotte goes to say goodnight to her brother. Isn't that cute? After that, Haruto says goodbye and goes to his bed to sleep. So far, so good, but after a while, he feels something climbing onto his bed. And guess who it is? Yes, exactly, Charlotte. Before Haruto can even say anything, the girl falls asleep snuggling up to him. At that moment, Haruto sees his mother at the door of the room, appearing quite happy that they're so close. The next morning, Haruto's father leaves, saying he's going to take care of the remaining bandits in the area. Haruto's mother tells him to be careful. Charlotte then becomes worried about her father, but Haruto says she shouldn't worry, because this time, they are really inexperienced and untrained bandits, unlike those knights who pretended to be bandits before. And thus, his father will handle them easily with his men. Charlotte asks if there's no way for everyone to be happy without fighting, and Haruto responds that it's easier said than done. Charlotte asks if it's difficult even for him, who is the hero of justice. She adds that she thinks that's what his powers should be used for, leaving Haruto in a dilemma. He says there's no choice, and he'll agree to her request. And the girl, who's completely excited from watching anime so much, asks if he will transform and join the fight. Haruto doesn't understand, but he has to stay in character and decides to play along. He uses a barrier to change his clothes, and the little girl goes crazy. She thinks she's living in an anime, man. She asks to go with him, but Haruto flatly refuses, saying it's too dangerous for her, leaving her disappointed, but she agrees when he proposes setting up a monitoring barrier for her to watch everything while he's out. But with a condition: you who are watching, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Fair enough? Subscribe. Haruto leaves, and using his barriers, he encounters the bandits. He blocks their exit from the cave, and thus, he captures them all at once. He arrives at the scene and strikes some embarrassing poses. The bandits attack him, and Haruto defeats them all. After doing so, his father arrives and asks him some questions. He asks if it was him who defeated all the bandits alone, and also asks if it was him who saved his wife and daughter the other day. He says yes and strikes a pose, saying he's the executor of justice and will always save the weak and oppressed. Then he flies away. After arriving, Haruto is exhausted from portraying that character, but Charlotte is really excited and asks when he'll go out again. At that moment, Haruto realizes he's gotten himself into trouble. She'll always want him to do things like that. And so, he continued to battle again and again, and after a while, he became known as the Black Knight. I hope this doesn't trend on Twitter. Some time later, Haruto finally manages to make his mannequin move and speak. He's really happy because now he can leave it in his place and explore the world. One day, Charlotte wakes up beside him and is very surprised to see two Harutos talking. She asks which one is hers. At one point, a maid knocks on the door saying it's almost time for him to leave. Haruto tells his clone to go in his place, but it refuses, because it's just as lazy as the original. Haruto then goes to his appointment. He meets the prince and princess, who are actually his blood siblings, but no one there except his father knows. It's easy to see that the prince is a sly one. He starts by saying the place is dirty, and that's what he expected from Hicks. Then he disrespects his own older sister, saying she's just a political tool, and she shouldn't act like they're equal. He's the future king, and she'll just be sent off to marry another noble. At one point, the brat comes to talk to Haruto and calls him adopted level 2, since everyone thinks Haruto only has 2 units of magical power. When the prince sees Haruto looking at him, he challenges him to a duel. Even though Haruto's father tries to avoid it, the sly prince insists. A while later, they are to duel, and the prince says he'll take it easy on Haruto because he's so weak. Haruto uses an appraisal skill to check his power, and finds that he's not so strong. Haruto uses a protection barrier on himself and lets him hit. The boy thinks he's making an impact and says he should fight if he can. Haruto then realizes he can fight, and suddenly appears behind the kid and taps his head. He gets up, but every time he does, he takes another beating, until he gives up. The princess is impressed that he's only level 2, and her father says he's simply accepted the way he is. At this point, the boy tries to appeal by using magic. Haruto simply uses an absorption shield, and it's of no use. Haruto asks him if he should return all his magic at once, and the prince quickly surrenders. That night, Haruto thinks that the people in the capital already knew he was level 2, and wonder if they're investigating. But he says it doesn't matter, since they discarded him without a second thought. And so, today's video comes to an end. Did you like it? Want more? Then let me know here in the comments, if you'd like. Also, give that sneaky like and subscribe so you don't miss any videos. Lastly, for those who really stuck around until the end, I've left an amazing video. It tells the story of Lucille, a worker who was a victim of a stray bullet in RJ, and was reincarnated as a super strong healer. Click on the screen here and check it out, it's amazing, okay? Until next time, bye.